As part of your role as an officer in charge, it is critical that you complete all paperwork correctly. This paperwork is mostly contained in the OIC Preparation Guide and the OIC Return. You will receive a preparation guide that will assist you prior to election day, including setting up the polling place, checking polling materials against the inventory, and contacting your polling staff. On election day, the OIC Return is used to assist in the management of the polling place. You should have the OIC Return with you at all times and refer to it regularly. The OIC Return is separated into 4 sections. Section A provides a list of the tasks that need to be undertaken before, during and after polling. This section will refer the OIC to forms in other sections when needed. Section B contains the mandatory forms the OIC must complete when managing the polling place, such as ballot paper reconciliation forms. Section C has forms that will only be used in certain circumstances. For instance, if someone makes a complaint to the OIC, they will record it on the Issues and Miscellaneous Matters form in Section C. Section D is where all forms relating to staffing and work health safety are kept, such as attendance records. Let's look at how the return should be used. The role of the OIC is complex. There are many different things happening in a polling place at any time, and you need to make sure that staff are following correct procedures, that voters are moving through the polling place efficiently, and that any possible issues are resolved satisfactorily. Section A starts before you leave home with a checklist of the items you need to bring with you. The Safety Inspection Checklist is in Section A. This is given to a staff member to complete before polling begins. Section A contains the briefings that you or the 2IC will read to polling staff and any scrutineers that are present. It also contains some tips for getting through the day or polling period and the answers to questions often asked by OICs. During polling, Section A of the return will prompt you to do some tasks repeatedly, such as checking that all staff are following correct procedures and instructing you to complete the voter flow report. To complete the voter flow report, the queue controller writes the number of ordinary issuing points open and the time on a voter time card and gives it to the last voter in the queue. When the voter arrives at the issuing point, the issuing officer writes the time on the voter time card and gives it to the OIC. The OIC asks the ballot box guard how many ordinary votes have been placed in the ballot box, records the number on the voter time card and sticks the voter time card on the voter flow report in Section B of the OIC return. If there is no queue, the queue controller ticks the No Queue box, writes in the time and gives the card to the OIC. Section A will also prompt you to do some tasks that are required less often, such as checking your supply of materials, including ballot papers, ensuring the polling place is free of hazards, and making sure voting screens are free of rubbish. Let's take a look at some of the forms in Section B of the return. The record of ordinary ballot boxes and security seals form is used when sealing a new ballot box. The OIC checks the ballot paper type, records the seal numbers on the form, then signs the form. The witness is then asked to complete the witness details and sign the form. After 6 p.m, when the ballot box is open for scrutiny, the OIC and a witness check that the original seals are in place and sign and witness the form. The OIC then breaks those seals to open the ballot box. The House of Representatives and Senate worksheets are two of the most complex forms in the OIC return. They are used to reconcile the ballot papers that were allocated to your polling place. The two forms are completed in the same way, so in the following example, we will just be filling in the House of Representatives worksheet. When you receive your allocation of ballot papers from the DRO, you will check count them and make sure the number you received is the same as the number on the ballot paper inventory, which is located in the OIC Preparation Guide. The number of House of Representatives ballot papers you received is recorded in the From DRO field on the worksheet. On polling day, ordinary issuing points are identified by the certified list number. Declaration issuing points are sequentially numbered. Prior to polling, you will allocate a number of ballot papers to each issuing point and record the number in the Allocation 1 column. Every time an issuing point requires more ballot papers, the number allocated is recorded against the correct issuing point. Each time you allocate ballot papers to an ordinary issuing point, the issuing officer counts the ballot papers and records the number allocated on the certified list cover sheet. The declaration vote issuing officers record their allocations on the ballot paper tracking form. They will list the number of House of Representatives ballot papers allocated for every division and the total number of Senate ballot papers. At the end of polling, you will calculate the number of ballot papers that have been allocated to the issuing points. Every issuing officer will calculate the number of ballot papers allocated to them. The figures should match the figures on your worksheet. Each issuing point will also count the number of spoilt ballot papers they receive throughout the day and the number of unused ballot papers. You will add these figures to your worksheet and calculate the total spoilt and unused ballot papers for the polling place. Once these figures are recorded, you calculate the number of ballot papers issued to voters. The calculations are added to the final reconciliation fields. The number of OIC's unused ballot papers is calculated at F. In this example, the OIC has 800 unused ballot papers. The number of discarded ordinary and declaration House of Representatives ballot papers are also recorded. Once the House of Representatives first scrutiny is complete, you will have the number of ordinary votes counted figure, which is added to the worksheet, and then the ballot paper reconciliation can be completed by doing the calculation for the total ballot papers field. The optimal outcome is that the total number of ballot papers equals the original allocation. In this case, 2,700. This gives a difference of 0, which means the polling place can account for every ballot paper. See your Election Procedures Handbook for more information if your ballot papers do not balance. The Senate worksheet is completed in the same way as the House of Representatives worksheet and is used to reconcile Senate ballot papers. The OIC return also contains forms to record the House of Representatives scrutinies and the Senate count. Let's look at recording the results of the House of Representatives scrutinies. The first preference count result sheet has a row for each candidate and for informal votes. Once the first preference count is complete, the results from each sort card are recorded on this form. The total number of votes issued is then calculated. These results are phoned through to the DRO. The two candidate preferred, or TCP scrutiny, is completed next. The TCP details are provided in a sealed envelope. In this envelope, you will find a form with the OIC's identification on it. This is used each time you phone through results. There is also a direction to conduct TCP form. This tells you the two preferred candidates. In this example, Belovi and Alvin are the two preferred candidates. And finally, the TCP result form. The first preference figures are transferred to the TCP result form. As each of the non-TCP candidates are sorted and counted, the results are recorded on the TCP results form. The total number of votes distributed to the two preferred candidates must equal the original first preference votes. Once all figures are recorded, you calculate the totals. The final total number of ballot papers should equal the total first preferences recorded on the first preference results form. These figures are phoned through to the DRO. The last results form is for the Senate count. The Senate result form can be many pages long depending on the number of candidates in your state or territory. Once the above-the-line votes have been counted, use the figure on the sort cards to complete the number of votes counted for each group. Next, the below-the-line ballot papers are counted and recorded for each group and ungrouped candidates. Finally, the obviously informal ballot papers are counted and recorded. The totals are calculated and these totals are phoned through to the DRO. The Record of Postal Votes form is used anytime a postal vote is handed in at a polling place. If a postal vote is being handed in, you record the voter's information on the first page of the form. Write "Received by me at" and include the polling place name on the postal vote envelope. Sign and date it, and then put the envelope in the declaration vote ballot box. The back of the Record of Postal Votes form is used to record any postal voters who want to cancel their postal vote and vote in the polling place, or claim they have not received their postal vote and want to vote at the polling place. The instructions are provided on the form. If there are no postal vote details for any section of the form, tick the nil checkbox at the bottom. The after 6 p.m. checklist is given to the declaration vote issuing officer to assist them with their after 6 p.m. ballot paper reconciliation. Once completed, it is put back in the OIC Return. The OIC Return includes a meal break roster. You should use this form to plan when staff are sent on their breaks during polling. By knowing how many staff you have, including yourself, you can plan when each person should go on a break. You may decide to leave the name fields blank and decide who goes on break depending on the workload on the day. But it is very important that all staff have a 30-minute break for every 5 hours worked. As an OIC, it is your responsibility to assess each staff member for suitability to their role. Each staff member should be given a rating between 1 and 3, with 1 being for exceptional staff who are capable of having more responsibility in future elections, and 3 being staff who are not meeting expectations. Always provide comments to demonstrate why the score was given. We have now looked at many of the forms in the OIC Return. There are more, such as the polling place declaration form that you will sign at the opening and again at the closing of the polling place. The Summary of Declaration Votes form, used to record the number of declaration votes issued for each division, and the Substitute OIC form, used to record the times the OIC takes a break. If you take the time to read the instructions on the forms and follow Section A of the OIC Return, the result should be a correctly completed OIC Return that will assist the AEC during the post-election period and when planning the next election. Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.